I'm so excited to be able to share this with you because I have been folding books for a long, long time, and these are just my favorites. And I recently purchased this book from my hero. She's a bookmaker. Her name is Hetty Kyle, and she is the inventor of the Blizzard book, which is by far my most favorite book structure in the world. And this is a fantastic book. It's a little technical, so you have to kind of get your brain wrapped around it, but oh boy, it has some really good stuff. Folded structures that are outrageous. So if you want to get into some incredible bookmaking, this I would say would be the one. If you like folding things, and of course you know I do. So these are like some old journals I made, or little books that I made. Some of them are out of a one sheet, like this one here. I'm gonna show you how to make the structure today. This is called it's one of the Flutter book styles, and it has a little insert, kind of a signature that I put on the inside, and I pre-printed these on a laser printer, the pages. So and I'll tell you how we do that. But I made a whole series of those, and this one is a variation of the Blizzard book. It's kind of a short, condensed one, but I was able to put little Polaroids, those small Polaroids inside. This is another folded book, kind of recently done. This one is similar to the Flutter book. In fact, it is but with bigger paper. And these are all just watercolors that I did on them, but it's also folded and cut, kind of what we're going to do today. This is the Blizzard book. This is actually the one I showed in Carol Duvall's show. If anybody saw that, it was one of my very first shows. This is I found this in my archives. I couldn't believe it. This one is the first thing that Carol picked up in the trade show where we'd never met before. And it has a necklace. It has a little pendant, a chain attached to it. She picked it up and then opened it up, and I heard her say, "Ooh," and she just flipped out. And when she saw this, and she said, "Who made this? I want to know who made this." And that's how I met Carol. And that's how it started, was this little guy. So I've got this one. It's basically, I'm going to show you how to fold that. And this is a bigger size, and it fits artist trading cards. And this was from an artist trading card swap that I was part of. And you can take them, what's nice is you can take them in and out. This was the one I did. I just loved all this mixed media stuff. This one I just loved. It was from a lady she's the lady who invented the foil. I forgot the name of it now. It's terrible, but I'll remember. Mercart was the name of the company, but she'd made a beautiful artist trading card out of foil. So, and then the cover and all that. So I just want to tell you, I'm going to show you how to fold the structures, and then we'll talk about covers, but I don't know if I'll have time we'll make covers today, but definitely once you get you started and excited about the actual fold. So if you were able to, before class, I did put it on the blog. We need these are just your standard typing paper, and 8.5 by 11. And I also to make these Blizzard books, you need longer sheets. So if you didn't have access to a long sheet of paper, which this one is just some butcher paper that I have a big butcher paper roll, and I measured it out. So today, if you don't have a long sheet, just watch the class or watch the demo, and then I'll tell you the exact dimensions, and then you can find either some gift wrap or anything that's 33 inches long. Somehow, if you can get 33. Another way to do 33 inches is to take three of your, it's 11 inches these guys are in the length. So I'm going to do it right now for you. Okay, so I'm going to just show you how I made this. We're going to do it together because in case you don't have long sheets, at least we can do this together. So what I did is I have 3 of these, and I'm going to cut them to 7 5/8 inches wide. This is for the business size case. So I'm just going to cut 7 5/8. So I'm going to take my measuring thing, if you can see what I'm doing, 7 5/8. And I want to make sure it's nice and even. There it is. I got to make sure that it lines up because we want it to be a perfect square. Or not perfectly, but perfectly lined up. I need this edge and this edge to be just right. So I'm going to trim all 3 pieces off. Really, I only have a little strip off of my 8.5 by 11s. So then I take some washi tape. If you have a patterned tape or white, doesn't matter, any kind. And you just want to take your washi tape, and I've got 3 different sheets here. And I'm just going to join them together, end to end. I think I put that on the blog today, but I'm just showing you how I do it. So I'm just taking that, and I'll use the pattern because it's pretty. So but as long as they're perfectly lined up, and kind of center that tape right over your seam. That's not centered, but oh well. That's typical. Now I'm just going to pick it up, and I'm going to trim the scissor. I'm just not going to actually trim it totally yet. I'm going to just lift it off. I'm going to join the next piece. So this will be 7 5/8 by 33 inches long, which is what we need to make that book, without having to do much cutting or measuring. So I'm just going to take that and try to center it as much as I can onto that. Way off center once again. So because it's way off center, I'm going to do a second one just to give it a little strength, because, oops, if I don't, the fold might come apart. So because I didn't center it, I'm just going to give another strip of tape right there, just to fortify it a little bit. And it will make my pages much more decorative, which will be really neat. Now also, I have the other side is going to be, there we go, it's stuck to my table now. Now how do I get it off? Okay. I'm just going to take it and turn it over. So because now I have the 3 pieces together. But I do want to center it on the inside too, or not center it, but I think it would probably be okay leaving these seams open. So I haven't tried it with the seams open, so let's try. So I'm just going to cut this edge off, cut these little pieces of tape off, get the raw edges out of the way, because they will be in my way. And I'll set this aside, but at least I wanted you to have that option to be able to fold along with me that book, because once you see it, you're going to want to fold it. It is the most magical structure I've ever seen in my life, I think. I'm totally fascinated with it every time I fold it. Kind of like those boxes. I just can't stop folding them. So I'm just putting that aside. Actually, set it aside for a bit, and I'm going to grab a couple more sheets of just 8.5 by 11. You can keep just, a couple, 3 sheets. Well, I think we'll probably we might do 4. So let's try, if you just have white paper, doesn't matter, any kind of paper, 8.5 by 11. So we're going to start with our very first book. And if you're with me there, the first book I wanted to mention is kind of one of the first books that ever came out. That's not this one. I had another one somewhere. I'm going to show you. It's a 4-page book. There it is. So this is it here. It's basically a simple book with a slit down the middle. So I'm just going to show you that. It's 8.5 by 11. That's how it starts. So we're just going to fold it in half. Increase, unfold, fold it in half again in the opposite direction. And you'll want to turn it so that you have it's facing your vertical or portrait style, facing you would be portrait. You're going to fold the 2 outer edges to the center. And we've got it like this. So now we open that up and we close it and just cut it in half. I mean, don't cut it in half. Don't listen to what I say. Fold it in half. And what you want to do, the only place you're going to cut is right here. Right? So you have your raw edge here, and I'll just kind of make a little mark. So here's our raw edge. We're going to make a cut from here to here. So I just take a pair of scissors while it's folded, I'm just going to fold it. I mean, not fold it, I'm going to cut it with my scissors right to where that little that crease is. I'm opening it up. And now the cool thing is I'm going to just take it and collapse it like this. So it's more like we want the slit to be at the top. So I basically have 4 areas here, the slit, and what we want to do is we want to collapse it so that all of these pages, so let's sort of the way to do this is once you get let's say that's just one side of your book, and you want to close the page, you just take this page and you're going to reverse this fold and bring this page. You just, it's sort of a natural collapse of pages. You're just reversing some of the folds, and you have just now created a book. So you can see I have 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the little slits are on. It doesn't matter where they're at, but it can be, you can close it in any direction you want, any way you want. Now, if you are going to make this a pre-printed thing, and laser printers or inkjet printers, if you wanted to lay this out in Photoshop or in any page layout, what I do is I take my pen, or let's say I'll take a brush or a marker so you can see it better. I'm just going to, now I've decided this is how I want my book to open and close. So I'm just going to put front. And then I'm just going to go page 1. You know, this is the bottom. I know that that's the orientation. Page 2, page 3, pager 4, page 5, page 6, and I'm going to put back. So the reason I do this is now, let's say I want to lay this out in a program where I can just set it up and put it in my printer. So this just gives me a template for making any kind of book like the way I made this one here that I showed you was pre-printed. This is a different cut, and I'm going to show you that next. It's the same way. You just lay it out, and then you can create artwork. You can do hand sketches. You can do photos and reproduce, make a print of it. You can use a photocopy machine and just go to like a Kinko's, not a Kinko's, they don't exist anymore, to your copy center, and you can do double-sided. It's just so much fun. If you were to do the double-sided, you would do the same thing. You would just open it up and do the same thing and just tell the pages where to go. So there is the first one. I'm happy to show you. That one was fun. I love that one. Second one, let's do the second one. Second one, we're going to fold it just the way we folded it the first time. So we're just folding it in half. And opening it up, folding it in half in the opposite direction. Open it up, fold it in half, or fold these ends to the center. So you'll have, how many will we have? Let's see. We will now have 8 sections. So this one's a fun one. So we're going to decide on how we're going to fold this. If we want it to be a smaller book, let's just do this one first. But there's so many variations, you can actually go kind of crazy. If I wanted to fold more sections, which I think I will on this one, just to show you how many variations. If you wanted to just make at this point, wanted to just make a simple book, we already did the cut in the center. So you can see that you can cut in either, you have to have a place to cut. So the first one was this one. If I just cut down this center only, so I'm going to fold these 3 together like this. So I'm leaving one page out. I'm leaving one part out. These have been folded in. And the reason I've done that, it just makes it easier to cut through. But what I really want to do is just cut from here to here. So I'm not going to cut past this point. I'm just cutting all from here. I'm not going to draw a straight line, but there we go. That's where I'll do my cutting. But what I always like to do to get a better, more accurate cut is just to fold those to here and take my scissors and just cut a nice short straight line. Instead of having to cut a long line, you're cutting a short line. So what we have now is a piece of paper that look like pants. They're pants. So to get your book started, I start with what is oriented like the book. So this is my first page on my left side. And all I have to do is start to collapse the pages as I'm folding. I just keep closing the pages as if I have a book. I come to this place where it wants to go up because it can't go anywhere else. So I'm just folding that, and then I'm going to reinforce that fold, and I'll just collapse everything right. I think that was only one fold that I had to reverse. And just lay it down, and now I have another book with a lot more pages. And you can decide if you want your book to be open this way with your little tint. This is called a tint. You can have that laying kind of facing down, because actually display-wise, that looks really nice. If you just want to, if you're creating a card for someone with several pages, then it's wonderful just to lay out and display like that. In this example, the one that I showed you, this is exactly the tint structure, and that one has that signature inside. So that gave me even more things to insert. And then I put a little envelope that has, oh, that Van Gogh's ear, because it's about Van Gogh. So it's about something about, I did a little Van Gogh's ear. I don't know what, that I painted a long time ago, but I had a little story about Van Gogh. And because he wrote sketches to his brother, Theo, and this was kind of an homage to him. So that's kind of that with that structure. So hope that one's a fun one. Now, if I wanted to make more, I'm going to do a variation of that real quick just to show you. This is called a simple flutter book. Now I'm going to do another, start with the same fold. Basically, get 8 sections to start. All your papers, if you have a different, let's say you did it with a square, you can still do the same thing. You would just have you'd have a square-shaped book, which you might see I've done with this one. So this is a 6" by 11, and it's the Flutter book, and it just comes out square pages. Oh, that's the inside. That's I forgot what that one was called, but that was the simple one, the first one I showed you. So I've got this now. If I want to make more pages, I'm just going to do, and it's going to be a smaller book. So you can start with a bigger sheet and get nice size pages, but this is a fun size too. I'm just creating another layer of sections. So now I've got, instead of 8 sections, I have double that. I have 16. And these, now the pages will go, depending on how I cut, it will depend on if it's a portrait or horizontal shape or landscape shaped book. So I'm going to do it so that it's a portrait style. And what I have to do is I'm going to have to cut. Basically, I have to cut from here, and then I'm going to cut from here to here, whoops, straightly, and here to here. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a meandering chain. This is actually, I made a mistake. This is going to be the landscape, but I'll show you how to do the portrait. The portrait, you would just do this way, which I did want to do that. So let's say, I'm just going to do it. I have time. We have time. So I'm just going to cut. Well, I can also fold, but if you do that, you can make a mistake. So I'm just going to do this. Cut straight through. You can use a straight edge or your scissors. It's better to get a nice straight cut, because then your book edges will be really straight. And this one's not going to be straight because I'm not being really careful. But I wanted to at least give you at least let you see. I can't even see with the lights in here. I can't see the lines. So I'm going along my wonky line, and it could be an interesting book. This is actually my watercolor book. That watercolor book I showed you, that's what this is, except it was on a much larger sheet. So you can convert any of these styles or any of these structures into your own, any kind of sheet. So here we are on this. This is the part where I'll start my book. I'm just going to start closing the pages and folding, just collapsing along the creases that are already there. And I'm just going to go down, and I'm going to just keep collapsing just into that book shape or the flat shape. I'm not creating new creases. I'm just going along the original creases. Some are reversed, some aren't. But then I have a finished book. So just flatten it once you feel like everything's there. Now, this would be really nice in a larger piece. I've got my 2 tents now. You can see I've got 3 tents. One is facing up, and these 2 that are facing down. So you can insert tabs and tags and little signatures and all little pop-ups, which in our creative journal get together, we are going to be doing stuff like that within our pages of our journal. So that one is just more pages by just adding some more sections. So that's the horizontal, or the portrait, not the portrait, landscape. So I'll just do another quick one to do it in the other style. The same fold exactly. Let's make 16 sections. And I love these toned copy papers. I think they're really fun to work with. Plus it makes it easier. The white sometimes just glares so much on the camera, and it glares enough with the light colors. But so here's the 8 sections. So to make it 16, just fold it another time. Now, this time, instead of what we did before, is we went long. So I have to remember, long cuts mean a long book. So short cuts mean a short book. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to mark my center. You don't have to mark these. You can do this without marking. But you just definitely don't want to go past. You want to alternate the cutting so you have this meandering thing going. So, and I think in the past, and I don't know why in the past, I'll just show you the way I did it. Basically, I just kind of folded everything on the creases I already made, like this, leaving the area that don't want to do that. I am not going to do it because I'll cut through it, I know it. There was a trick, but I forgot it. So I don't need to show you a trick, I'll just show you. So I'll cut this right where I marked, and maybe marking with pencil to start, so you don't cut through by accident. It might be a good idea, and then you can just erase the pencil. Right to that edge, right to that intersection. Whoops, I just tore it. My tape got caught. Okay. And the last. Okay, so now my book, I'm just going to lay it back into this position. On this side, that's my inside page. This would be my cover, and I'll just start to collapse. And everything is already folded usually. This is the only one I'm going to reverse the fold. Just going to fold it up to kind of collapse, just as if I'm reading a book. I just collapse as I go. Bring it down, bring these pages over, bring this up, and bring the last pages over. And I'll just I saw that because I cut all funny, but you can kind of re-crease everything to make it nice and even. I'm just being a little quick here, but so there's the book. And now it's this beautiful, this one has the tints. I'm seeing they're facing up, so I can always turn it to make the tints face down. If I want the multiple, you can decide where you want those tints to face, however you want it to be. But there is these are called flutter books, and they're just so much fun. So many things you can do with it. If you use heavy-duty watercolor paper, you can make the watercolor books. But so that's those. So I wanted to show you the exciting one. This is now, and I'm going to do it with this paper because I'm hoping that you were able to do it. This is our Flutter. This is our Blizzard book, my favorite of all time. I kind of have to clear it out, my little space out. And I have a little trick about folding, and I'm going to move my table, so I'll show you, because I am seeing right now that the paper does not fit in the camera view. So I'm just going to, I'll guide you. So if you can actually learn this book without even seeing it, because if I describe it properly, you should be able to get it. But the first thing you need to do is to fold it in half lengthways. And you'll see it's okay to have your seams are in weird places, and that's fine. So fold it in half lengthways and make really sure that your ends, these have to be lined up. Your top edge, everything needs to be lined up just perfectly. And then when you do that, just once it's lined up at the top, go ahead and take your hand and crease. There we go. Crease. Now you have it 1/2. It's folded in half lengthwise. Okay, crease that really good right in that edge. So take it without picking it up. Now I see I've kind of shifted I see a little blue there, and this could be a prop. No, it's okay now. But you want to check your fold and make sure that everything's lined up. If it isn't, just kind of adjust it and recrease, because you want that to be lined up just nicely to make a good accordion fold. So the next thing is just take your left top page only, just this top, and fold it over to the right, all the way to just lay right evenly on top of this right edge, and then crease. Give it a nice crease. And turn the paper over, the whole thing, and make this last page fold to the right. To fit right, just to lay it right on top. Everything's lined up, and then you crease. So what we have now, we open it up, we have 3 creases, 4 sections. What we're going to do is we want this middle section, because if I turn them, I have 2 mountains on the right. So turn your page so you have 2 mountains on the right, and you have a valley in the center. Or you can, if you have 2 valleys and you have a mountain in the center, all you need to do is you want all of your folds right now to be mountains. So I'm just going to reverse, because I do want this on the outside. I'm going to reverse this fold right here on the right to be a mountain. And I'm going to reverse this one on the left to also be a mountain. So now I have 3 mountains right here, see? And if you look at it from the side, they look like waves. And that's kind of what happens next. So I'm going to do this thing I call, and I don't know who thought of the term, but I put the page down on the table, so it's actually dropped below. It's actually laying on it's just falling down between my legs on the table, so that as long as my sheet is, I'm not battling it. So I'm going to take this mountain and I'm going to bring it up to the shore. We call it like the wave to shore or mountain to shore fold. So I'm just going to take this valley, I'm just bringing it like a wave, and I'm just going to take it to that top edge, right to the very top. Make sure it's perfectly centered right over it. And now I'm just going to crease, because what I'm doing is I'm creasing the layer that's underneath. And I'm going to take my next mountain, which is right here. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to bring it over to the same, right over the last one. Make sure it's lined up. And now I'm going to just crease it. And so again, I see I'm a little off. I kind of went off a little because I wasn't looking. So I'm just going to, I'm going to just straighten it out and recrease. Because you just want to make sure your folds are just right on. If they're not, it's okay. Well, this just makes for a cleaner looking book when you do that. So my last mountain is going to go up to the top, that top right there. I'm going to crease. What I'm creasing though is, like I said, is under that thing that's under, that layer that's under. The last end, this end, is going to just go up to that top, that shore area. And I'm going to crease. So what we have is now we have 8 sections. Right? We have 8 sections. We're going to reverse all the valleys to make them mountains. So I'm just going to take my valley creases and turn them into mountains. Okay, so now we have all mountains. And I'm going to drop that page, just kind of drop it on the table, let that page just drop below. If I could show you, I'll just give you a little quick, so you can see it's down, it's hanging down here. So you're not battling with it on your tummy area. So bring this, same thing. This is our shore. We want to bring all of our waves to that shore. So I'm going to take this, bring this right up, and crease, and do this on all of the mountains. Wave to shore, mountain to shore. I'm trying to remember what that was. I think it was mountain to shore. And just bring it up. And I'll tell you the reason why Hetty Kyle calls this a blizzard book. She actually invented it when she was stuck at home in a blizzard. So that's how the word blizzard came up. It had nothing to do with the structure, but it was just when she created it. So I'm going to keep bringing all these folds up to the top, mountain to shore. And you can do the tiniest of accordions this way, the most accurate itty bitty tiny accordions. I'll have to show you, I made a rice paper fan for a privacy screen. We have one of those little arched peekaboo windows in our living room, and we just didn't like that idea because tall people can peek in. So I just created a rice paper fan and put it over that using this accordion folding technique. So the very last page, I just make sure it folds right to the top. So now we have this many sections. I'm going to have you stop folding accordions now. We have enough to get this book done. So now if you hold it as if you're going to just hold it like you would hold a book, open the page, so it would go, your top page would go from right to left. So that's where we're going to start our next folds. All we're going to do is fold each layer. We're going to fold it a corner back to the spine edge. So this is our spine edge. I'm just going to fold this corner and this corner. I'll just, there like that, right just to that back part. Now, this is the part, if you wanted to know if it was going to fit a card or anything, and there's ways, there is a mathematical formula, and if I knew what it was, if I know what it is, I'll definitely post it. But if you want to size something, like this fits my card perfectly. So like if you want to do a photo or any other type of card, this is when you would know if your measurements are right. So I know that's going to be great. So now I've got this first page. I'm going to turn it to the right, open my book, and take my next layer and fold that to the back spine edge. Do that. We're going to do this on every page as we turn it. So just make that nice little crease right, kind of make sure it goes right back to the. So we've got this. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do it again. Just going to keep folding these little corners back. And just crease them really well. Give them a nice sharp crease with a bone folder, the back of your nail, something, because you'll really need these creases to be really, really sharp. So can't stress that enough. Just give it a nice burnishing so that it gets really crisp. So you can see this is where my washi tape is. So I'm just gonna have to fold a little extra firm because of that washi tape. But I still can do it. Actually, I like the washi tape. It gives it a neat, fun effect. I had to give that a really good crease. Open it up, bring the next one. So basically, you're doing this until all of your pages run out. And you don't have any more to fold, then you know you're done. Okay. This one. And we have a couple more to go. And then I'll torture you after that. And I'll tell you what it is. This is the time when after on the next step, after we finish doing this, I always have people moan like, "Oh no!" But it'll be fine. I'll show you. It's actually amazing. So, I'm getting a little bunched up here, but that hopefully will be okay. Now the very last one is just a loose one. You don't need to, you would want to close it and then fold those last two backwards. So here I've got all these, my last page, I close it, and then I fold those backwards so that both sides are symmetrical. So now I have this, which is fun. Okay, now we have to gently and carefully, depending on the strength of the paper, I think this is weaker than the rice paper I use. I want you to unfold all what you just did, everything. So you want to just take it apart gently because I've torn the paper if I'm not careful. We just want to unfold what we've folded. Just gently. We're not making new creases or anything. We're just gently unfolding. And when I would do it with rice paper, I can just open it up and it comes apart without any tearing. So here we are, we've got this. So I made you, see, I tortured you, I made you unfold it. But this is where the magic happens. So let's start, I bring my paper down, just drop it down. And what I need to do, so I didn't get this one open. Gotta make sure they're open. I'm gonna do something that's called an inside reverse fold. And I'm gonna show you how, what we have are, this is a mountain, and this is a mountain. These need to be, well, that's a mountain, this is a valley. So you're only gonna reverse, you're gonna reverse a couple of folds. I'm gonna take this one, that needs to be a valley. So how I do it is I just bring it up, and I'm just gonna reverse the fold and make it go inside. So I'm doing it on all the pages, taking that fold and reversing it to go inside. I'm just gonna, and then crease it nicely and go to the next one, do the same thing. All of them, we want to reverse these folds. So holding it up at the top here at the peak and just bringing that down. And if you crease that nice, it should just pretty easily go into that reverse. You can even take that edge and just drop it down and it automatically snaps into place. You just go that to the whole length, entire length of it. Now this one, because of the washi tape, is a little more stubborn, but it still can be done. There we are. Got it nice and creased there. You need a lot of room. This thing travels, it's traveling now and pushing things off the table. So you just want to give yourself lots of room for your structure, or this wonderful accordion that's just looking like a caterpillar or something. So after I've done that, see everything? Now all I need to do is bring it back and collapse it back into what the shape it was before. Collapse it right into the shape that's sort of springy. And what I have now is this back to what it was, but with reversed folds. I have my long edge as my spine edge. Now this is what I call magical. I just love this. So this is the spine edge. And each page we're going to just turn, take your first page that you can do, just pick it up, turn it to the, just like you're opening a book, bring your points, and it's naturally going to just fall into place. Take your points and fold them up to that, right up to that center, and crease, take both points and bring them down. And you could see that nice, that's your first page. That is your first pocket page, which should fit my little business card right in there. Yes, beautiful, that's just right. And I open the next page. If I can get it, my finger's in there. Open the next page, and I have this sort of oblongy, whatever that is. I want those things to point in. Same thing, line it up, kind of make sure it's lined up on, on everything. Make sure that point is going up that crease. And same thing, bring the second point down. You'll do this on all of your pages. Just kind of line everything up. Everything should just line up great. Sometimes they get a little off or a little bent or a little curvy in the corner. It's happened. Don't fret. It will still work. It just may have a more rounded corners. I've done that lots of times where I had some that worked that way. I think it was just maybe my cut wasn't as accurate or my folds weren't as accurate. So it just takes some practice, but this book will serve you in so many ways creatively. So go ahead and open the page and fold those corners up into the center. So these are now pockets, which is so genius of this lady who, I don't know, I think she must have invented it probably at least 25 years ago. I think about 20 to 25 years ago, because I think I've been folding it that long. What's great is now my washi tape has made a really interesting pattern. So you might even just decorate the pages beforehand, maybe paint in them or color in them, write in them, and then you'll have some really interesting pages. And just open it up. Go ahead and bring all those points together. Oops, just one layer at a time. And I'll do the same, bring these, and I could see mine wants to shift, some of the folding wants to shift, and I think the nature of paper does, stretch a little bit, especially in moisture, of course, expands and contracts a little. So we'll have some variation, and it's not always perfect. This one's coming out pretty good, I think, because of the cut was really good this time. So I'm just going to fold this page. Oh, I like that decorative part that the washi tape just made this really, I just love that. It looks so cool. Maybe I should do that in all of them. And open the next one. And one more to go. And the last one. Just make sure my creases are good on these sides. And I'm just going to take this and fold this over. And we are finished. This book is now complete. So it's actually very cool. It stands up on its own with the smaller ones. They stand up on their own. Now, to make a cover, we'll have to do a thing, we'll do another little class on making covers for these. But I've got several. I think the best one that I like to make is this one. It's a really simple cover. It's actually, you take the book and you take these little parts and take them out. So here's the book that's the book without the cover. And this cover is really one sheet of paper. That's all it is. So I will share that cover. We can do that maybe in the next, we'll do that soon, because I think it'd be really nice to be able to, I'll make one that fits these business cards. So we'll have a business card case cover that we can insert these pages into that would fit just right. And wouldn't that be a fun project?